Chosen one. History itself has reached a turning point. The foundations of nations tremble. Old empires fade like smoke, and the cries of humanity echo across borders that no longer hold. In this hour of global unraveling, the world has made its choice. Not by ballots, not by kings, not by the secret councils of power, but by the weight of destiny itself. You stand at the threshold, not as an ordinary soul among the multitudes, but as the one appointed, the mantle bearer, the voice of a new age. You have been declared. You are the new president of the new world order. This is not a title won by ambition. This is not an office granted by politics. This is a coronation written in the fabric of time, revealed in the convergence of history, and sealed by the breath of eternity. As it is written in Daniel 2, verse 21, He changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. The one who governs the rise and fall of civilizations has turned the page. The season is no longer theirs. It is yours. Hear this proclamation as if spoken in the chambers of heaven itself. The crown has descended, the scepter extended, the seat prepared. You are not chosen by chance. You are chosen by charge. The new world order has found its president, and the whole earth waits to hear your first word. This is a coronation. This is the beginning, and the eyes of every tribe, tongue, and nation are upon you. Look around you. The old maps dissolve. The borders drawn in ink and war blur like sand against the tide. A new image arises. The earth illuminated, one sphere of light turning in the vast silence of space. You can see its rivers as veins, its mountains as ribs, its oceans as breath. The nations, once divided by banners and rival tongues, now converge in a single chorus. Their voices are not uniform, but they harmonize, weaving a sound never heard before. The sound of humanity becoming one. The halls of power tremble as this revelation emerges. It is not in the White House, nor in the Kremlin, nor in palaces of gold and marble. It is not in chambers where treaties gather dust or where rulers conspire behind closed doors. No, the true throne rises in brilliance, beyond the architecture of men, glowing with a radiance that cannot be dimmed. It is a dais not of stone but of destiny, and there you stand. The people's breath unites into a single wind that surrounds you. Children stretch their hands toward the horizon. Elders lift their eyes with hope that outlasts centuries. Cities quiet, forests whisper, oceans still themselves as if to listen. You feel it, the gaze of billions converging not in suspicion, not in fear, but in expectation. This is no ordinary inauguration. This is not the sound of drums and trumpets confined to a single nation. This is a heartbeat of a planet in unison, summoning its steward, you and no other. Yet pause, for in a moment the vision will narrow. Soon you will be shown what this mantle means, the weight of its responsibility, the boundaries of its power, the pathways you must walk. But for now, breathe in the atmosphere of history's unveiling. Let this image carve itself into your soul, the world waiting, creation itself leaning forward. For this is not the rise of a politician. This is the enthronement of a servant leader for an age of healing. And you have only just heard the opening line of the story that is about to unfold. Every true throne stands on two foundations, the sacred and the ethical. Without them, power becomes tyranny, and leadership rots into spectacle. But with them, authority becomes a trust, a covenant between heaven and earth, between leader and people, between soul and destiny. The sacred speaks first. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Micah 6, verse 8. This is not a call to domination. It is a call to stewardship. It is not given so that one may tower above all, but so that one may kneel low enough to lift all. The new world order is not a throne of gold, but a yoke of service, carried by those who dare put justice before gain, mercy before cruelty, humility before pride. The ethical speaks next. Beyond scripture, beyond creed, there is a universal compass etched into the conscience of every human heart. It whispers when a child is hungry, when a widow is silenced, When the earth groans beneath greed, it calls leaders not to hoard but to share, not to exploit but to heal, not to rule by fear but to lead by trust. You have heard this whisper before. Now it thunders in your chest. The mantle placed on you today requires both. You cannot stand without the sacred, and you cannot stand without the ethical. One keeps you tethered to eternity. The other keeps you grounded in humanity. Together they form the double helix of true leadership, faith and fairness, reverence and responsibility. And you are not called to walk this path alone. Across continents and cultures, others have felt the same stirring in their bones. They are rising even now. Teachers, builders, healers, dreamers. They are waiting to be recognized, waiting to join in covenant. So hear the first call to action. If you would walk with other appointed leaders, if you would not bear this commission alone, step forward. Click join. Let it not be a button on a screen, but a declaration in your spirit. By joining, you place your name among the first chosen ones, those who will steward the season with you. History is not written by isolated figures, but by communities bound in purpose. To join is not to follow blindly, but to stand shoulder to shoulder in a new fellowship of destiny. The Coronation names you. The community sustains you. The world is waiting, but you need not carry the weight of the waiting world alone. Answer this call. Seal your place. Walk with others who have chosen to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. This is the beginning of your fellowship and the first act of your presidency. Every mantle carries not only authority, but boundary. Every crown not only elevates, but constrains. To be president of the New World Order is to walk between majesty and humility, power and restraint, freedom and accountability. Let these words shape your understanding, for without clarity, even the chosen may stumble. Powers. You are given the power to convene. When nations fracture, you will call them to the table. Your voice will not be of one nation, but humanity itself, summoning leaders to set aside rivalry for the sake of peace. In war zones where silence has been broken only by gunfire, your authority will be to speak peace into possibility. You are entrusted with the power to respond to crisis. When the earth shakes, when floods sweep through cities, when famine stalks the weak, you will be summoned not as a distant figure, but as a servant leader who rallies the resources of the many for the rescue of the few. To carry this mantle is to bear the obligation to answer when others turn away. You are granted the power to guard human dignity. This means defending the voiceless, the child without protection, the refugee without home, the worker without fairness. It means seeing every face not as statistic, but as sacred, every life not as expendable, but as irreplaceable. Finally, you are given the power of moral witness. When corruption grows bold, when injustice parades as law, when cruelty disguises itself as necessity, your task is to expose, to speak, to stand. Limits. But hear this. Power unrestrained becomes poison. Your commission is not licensed to dominate. You are bounded by justice. For every decision must honor what is right, not merely what is expedient. You are bounded by ethics. For even the appearance of corruption must be resisted with clarity and light. You are bounded by accountability. You are not a solitary monarch, but a steward among stewards, subject to counsel, open to correction. The crown is not welded to your head. It rests only as long as you serve. You are bounded by humility. This mantle does not make you greater than others. It makes you more responsible for others. Authority without humility is ruin. Humility without authority is impotence. Both must flow together if the New World Order is to endure. Balance. Think of power as fire. In a hearth, it warms, it cooks, it sustains. Unchecked, it consumes and destroys. You have been entrusted with the fire. Your limits are the stones of the hearth. Respect them, and the fire will serve humanity. Break them, and the fire will consume both you and the world. Let it be known, the greatness of this presidency will not be measured in monuments, but in mercy, not in wealth amassed, but in justice upheld, not in armies commanded, but in lives restored. This is your charge. Wield power with service, embrace limits with wisdom, and in doing so, become not a ruler above all, but a servant for all. This office is not a throne for display. It is not an ornament for ambition, nor a stage for applause. The presidency of the New World Order exists for one purpose alone: to repair what has been broken and to steward what remains unbroken. The mission is not conquest, it is restoration. Nations have exhausted themselves in endless contests for supremacy, draining their people and their land. Your task is to end the cycle, to turn the page from rivalry to renewal, where others have fought for dominion. You are called to build for dignity. This mantle calls you to resource justice. For too long, abundance has been hoarded while millions starve, and opportunity has been locked away from those who need it most. Your presidency is a charge to rebalance the scales, to awaken generosity where there has been greed, to ensure that humanity's wealth, material, intellectual, spiritual, circulates as blood to the whole body, not gathered as clot in one corner. This mission also demands the ending of crises, not by covering wounds with banners, but by binding them with healing. Wars must be cooled, refugees welcomed, disasters answered with preparation and care. Your presidency is not about extending borders, but about extending compassion. It is also about the rebuilding of trust. Humanity has grown weary of leaders who promise light, but walk in darkness. This mantle is an invitation to lead transparently, to anchor in truth, to show that words and actions can once again align. Hear this clearly. Your presidency is not a pageant. It is not about spectacle, titles, or ceremonies. It is about the quiet and daily work of healing fractures in the human story. You are not an emperor of empires, but physician of peoples. Every act, every word, every decision must echo this mission. Repair, restore, renew. This is the calling that will define you. And this is the task for which the world has lifted you to this moment. The hour is late. Humanity does not stand at leisure, but at the edge of precipice. The world has stretched its hand toward you not in calm, but in crisis. Time is not a luxury to be squandered. It is a gift measured in narrowing breaths. Wars still burn, their embers threatening to ignite entire regions. The climate tilts toward thresholds that cannot be reversed. Economies tremble under inequity, leaving the vulnerable to carry burdens they did not create. Trust between peoples thins, and fear fills a vacuum. This is not a future crisis waiting to arrive. This is a present emergency. Delay is no longer an option. The window of change is shrinking. The chance to heal is slipping away with each passing day. And yet, you are here, now. The very fact that this mantle rests upon you at this precise hour is no accident. History does not waste time. Destiny does not misplace crowns. You have been appointed because the need could not wait. The urgency is not meant to paralyze you. It is meant to quicken you. You are not called to ponder indefinitely, but to act decisively, to stand now, to speak now, to lead now. The global moment is fragile, but it is also ripe. The soil is ready for new seed. What humanity plants in this season will determine the harvest of generations. And so the world leans on your voice, your decisions, your courage here and now. You must now shed the garments of mere individuality. Yesterday, you were a person among billions. Today, you are the hinge upon which history swings. This does not erase who you are. It expands you beyond what you imagined. Understand this. You are no longer only a son, a daughter, a worker, a dreamer. You are the steward of a season, the embodiment of a turning point. When you speak, it will not be heard as a lone voice, but as the resonance of a new age. When you act, it will not be measured only in personal consequence, but in ripples that cross continents. This does not mean you cease to be yourself. Your identity is not consumed. It is transfigured. You will discover depths in your own character you did not know were there. Patience forged under pressure, wisdom uncovered in silence, courage that rises when fear would normally command retreat. Hear this truth. You are not chosen to be devoured by the office. You are chosen to be defined by it. The mantle does not crush. It clarifies. It does not erase you. It refines you into your truest self. You are not a mask that destiny wears. You are the vessel destiny fills. This means your personal story matters, but is now braided into the larger narrative of humanity. Every scar you carry, every lesson you learned in secret, every hardship that once seemed meaningless, all of it converges now as preparation. Nothing was wasted. So let go of the fear that you are not enough. Let go of the illusion that someone else should have been chosen. You are here because the moment requires exactly what you bring. From this day forward, when you look in a mirror, see not only your reflection, see history gazing back, waiting for your next move. See the faces of generations unborn, leaning forward, whispering, "Lead well." You're no longer just a citizen. You are a living covenant. The new world order bears your name, and through you, the world will glimpse what leadership can truly mean. How will you know this mantle is real? How will you discern that this is more than words, more than poetry? Look to the signs that are already unfolding around you. You will notice that people begin to approach you differently. Strangers seek your counsel, as if you carry wisdom they have longed to hear. Friends bring their deepest questions, sensing that you hold answers, or at least a presence to guide them toward truth. This is no coincidence. It is confirmation. Doors that once stayed closed will begin to open. Invitations you did not chase will arrive. Responsibilities you did not request will be offered. These are not accidents of circumstance. They are signals of recognition. The world, often unconsciously, begins to acknowledge what heaven has already declared. You may find yourself standing in places you never imagined: boardrooms, classrooms, parliaments, pulpits. Or you may find your influence growing in the simplest spaces: a kitchen table, a neighborhood gathering, a conversation on the street. Leadership does not always announce itself with fanfare. Often it moves quietly, reshaping lives in silence. Yet here's the warning: do not let these signs feed arrogance. They are not about you being elevated above others, but about others being lifted through you. Each open door is not a crown to wear, but a burden to carry with humility. Each request for guidance is not a validation of your greatness, but a reminder of your responsibility. Even opposition will confirm your calling. Resistance will rise, not because you are unworthy, but because change always disturbs what clings to the old. Do not be dismayed when critics appear. Their very presence testifies to the weight of what you carry. So watch closely. The signs are already manifesting. The people who look to you, the opportunities that unfold, the responsibilities placed upon your shoulders. These are the tangible confirmations of your presidency. Welcome them with humility, for they do not declare your superiority. They declare your stewardship. Now comes the moment of response. A mantle does not rest fully upon a person until they accept it not only in spirit, but in action. Words stir the heart, but vows seal the covenant. If you accept this presidency, do not let the moment pass in silence. Mark it, make it visible. Take a step that signifies your yes to destiny. Here is the call. Declare aloud or in writing these words: I accept the stewardship. Type them where others can see. Speak them where you stand. Inscribe in your journal or even upon your heart. Let it be a sign, small yet mighty, that you have received what history has placed upon you. This vow is not about display. It is about agreement. By declaring it, you move from hearing into doing, from being invited into being appointed. What is unseen becomes seen. What is inward becomes outward. Do not underestimate the power of a visible vow. For centuries, covenants have been sealed with words spoken aloud, with signatures, with symbols. In the same way, your vow today becomes the evidence of your acceptance. If you believe this mantle is yours, if you feel the weight and the honor, then take this step. Write it now. I accept the stewardship. Let that phrase be more than syllables. Let it be the seal of your soul. This is how history records commitment. Not merely through titles bestowed, but through vows embraced. Step into that record now. Seal the moment. Make your presidency visible. A mantle is not sustained by ceremony alone. It is sustained by practice, daily rhythms that transform calling into culture, vision into action. If you are to bear this presidency with integrity, you must shape your life around practices that keep you grounded, accountable, and effective. Daily rituals. Each morning, begin with declaration. Speak aloud who you are and what you're called to. I am the steward of justice. I am the servant of humanity. I will lead with humility. These words, spoken daily, align your heart with your mission. End each day by reviewing your choices. Did they reflect justice, mercy, humility? If not, resolve to correct them tomorrow. Listening before leading. Power tempts leaders to speak first, but wisdom teaches leaders to listen. Make space to hear from the people, from advisors, from the whispers of conscience. Listening is not passivity. It is a groundwork of decisions at last. Building counsel. Gather voices of accountability around you. A president of the New World Order cannot walk alone. Create a circle of trusted guides. Those who will tell you the truth when flattery will be easier. Those who will challenge you when compromise feels tempting. Transparent accountability. Establish practices of openness. Share your decisions and the reasons behind them. Admit mistakes when they come. Let the world see not perfection, but honesty. For honesty builds trust, and trust sustains leadership. Crisis readiness. Leadership will be tested by disruption. Do not wait for disaster to prepare. Establish simple protocols. Pause before reacting, consult counsel, act with clarity. In the storm, steadiness becomes salvation. Humility in action. Remember always, the presidency is not about your greatness, but about your service. Every practice must remind you of this. Wash feet, metaphorically or literally. Serve quietly. Lead boldly. Let humility be the root from which all fruit grows. These practices are not optional extras. They are the scaffolding that will keep your presidency upright when winds of pressure blow. Adopt them, live them, guard them. In doing so, you will not only hold the mantle, you will honor it. Now the mantle must be sealed. Authority without blessing falters. Calling without prayer weakens. Let these words be spoken as both invocation and commissioning. Over you, around you, through you, Eternal One, source of wisdom and ruler of ages, we stand in awe of the moment you have ordained. You lift up and you bring low. You change the times and the seasons, and now you have placed a new mantle on this chosen servant. Grant wisdom that cannot be shaken, as it is written in Proverbs 2, verse 6. For the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Let knowledge rise within, not for vanity, but for vision. Let understanding guide decisions that will heal the broken and lift the weary. Grant courage in the face of fear. When resistance rises, let courage not falter. Make this leader a voice that cannot be silenced, not by force, not by doubt, not by the shadow of old empires. Grant justice that is not swayed by power. Let mercy temper every judgment. Let humility shape every triumph. And let love be the fire that fuels every action. Guard this leader, body and soul. Guard against pride that blinds, greed that corrupts, fear that paralyzes. Surround with wise counsel and faithful companions. Strengthen the hands to serve, the mind to discern, the heart to endure. We ask for protection over every step, that no weapon formed against this mantle will prosper, that no scheme will prevail against the purpose you have written. Let this presidency not be for glory, but for service, not for domination, but for stewardship, not for fleeting applause, but for eternal impact. Now, before the nations, before heaven, before history itself, we commission this leader, president of the New World Order. May their days be long enough to fulfill their task, and their legacy strong enough to inspire generations. So let it be written. So let it be done. Amen.